Well, you join me today in a village in Slovakia called Marianka. Now, Marianka is Slovakia's oldest pilgrimage site. It even has a statue of the Virgin Mary, apparently. But today, what I want to show you is exactly why, in the 60s or 70s, that the communist government of Slovakia actually wanted to destroy it. So join me on a very wet, windy and cold day in Marianka. There you have the pub, local village pub. It's very cute. And then what we are going to check out is the old church / monastery, which is just up here. You can see there the nativity scene. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully I'm not just walking mad fast. You can see the lovely forest. These are actually part of the Carpathian Mountains. It's literally where they start, is in this village. It's mad. So I've got some lovely context and history for you guys about this place. Because ultimately, although it's Slovakia's largest pilgrimage site, pilgrimages are actually banned, or pilgrimages? Whatever the word is, was actually banned when the communist sort of government or regime took over. So, to give you some idea, this pilgrim site actually dates back to the 1400s. Can't quite think who was in control of Slovakia then, but it's obviously quite something. And basically there was a legend that there was a thief, and this thief, in his moment of need, had 4 ill children. And in his moment of need, this thief found, in these woods that we're in now, with me, found a statue. The statue revealed itself. And he said, if he never sinned again, would God heal his 4 children? And from the statue, which we'll see in a bit, there was a well, a spring. And this spring heats up the water, and he went and he healed his 4 kids. And as the legend goes, to this day, the well cures all ills. People still come here now. We'll see it in a bit. I'll show you the tap. People still come here now to see the spring and to see the wells. We'll have a look at it. Look at this. Now, as we get closer to the well, it's probably something to bear in mind. That is, during the communist regime, or the communist takeover of Slovakia, pilgrimages, I think that's the word. Pilgrimages and gatherings, church religious gatherings, are actually banned. They were banned because they were undesirable events. Obviously, religion was heavily suppressed in not only the Soviet Union at the time, but also the communist regime of other countries that signed up to the Warsaw Pact. Although 95% of Slovakia is Catholic. So obviously that had a huge impact. People would still go to church, unofficially, and they'd also still meet up. But certain members of the clergy and certain priests of certain renown would have actually been under scrutiny, or at least watched by the secret police, by the Slovak secret police at the time. Which is why at the time, Slovak gatherings and religious gatherings were actually always banned, or at least under the they'd have been under the watch of the secret police of Slovakia at the time. And obviously Slovakia was never in the Soviet Union, but it did have a communist aligned government at the time. So that's why this area, in fact this village, as you can see there, and that we've just walked through, was actually scheduled for demolition under the communist government. That never came to pass, thankfully. It's a beautiful village. So in the end, it kind of stood the test of time. And a lot of these wells and a lot of these villages, just wouldn't have existed. But thankfully they still do. So you can see, there's the well. It's just all around here. And this was the church. It was also scheduled for demolition. You can see the roof's obviously been redone, new paintings. But you can kind of see the older side of it with the brick and the smashed out windows. And the spring that was as part of the legend of the thief, where our thief actually came and healed his secret kids. It actually can be seen here. And you can see the cups. You can see the 2 taps there that the locals, even today, will still use to come and collect water and pay homage to and pay pilgrimage to. There is the wooden statue, but I think it's further up over there, if you can see that. So we'll go and take a look there. Let's go and have a look at that, see what it says. But you can see the inscriptions here, all in Latin. Clemens, Pia, Dulces, Virgo. And then obviously you'd have had the taps that still work. Well, I don't know if it's cured all my ills. I dare say I still love leggy brunettes. But overall, it actually tastes alright. Go and have a look at this church. I think we should. I think it should be rude not to whilst we're here. You can see there the statues of 2 priests. And you can see there, my Slovak is absolutely abysmal. Čo sa nám podarilo? Obnova vonkajších frišik? I have no idea. I think that means it's up for sale or something. It's offering finance on the church. And you can see there. Let's have a look inside. I can't go inside because there's this massive locked gate, but you guys can. You can see there the detail. I actually can't see as far in as you guys can, so you guys can see the roof. We'll go and find the statue. I don't think the statue was in there. Is that it? No, the statue was found by a tree. I think it's this one up there. There's a thing up there. I don't know if you can see it through the... Oh, there you go. You can see the windows. I think it's up there. We'll go take a look up there. If I can find the right steps, rather than... Oh, there's bears here as well. I should have mentioned that. Hopefully we don't get eaten by any bears or boars. And you can actually see the 6. There's 6 of these. I think it's 1, 2, 3. You guys can't just see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that might be the 6th one actually. But there is 6 or something up there. And I think they're the pilgrimage sites. I can't quite recall. It would have been good if I'd have done a bit more research before I started to film this, but such is life. I'll check my phone. That has all the answers. Miraculous statue. The Miracle Spring. We've just seen that. Forest chapels. Yeah. So they're chapels that were set up to celebrate the spring. And they also suppose is, I think, pilgrim sites. I think that's what it is. God, I'm unfit. And you can see here all the candles that have been lit in people's honour, or lit in people's honour. And this is a real common scene in Slovakia. You'll see this on graves, and you'll also see it in churches, a bit like how we lit like candles in the UK, but you'll also see it in places like graves and cemeteries. Obviously it's a Catholic country, so most people are buried, not cremated. I think that's correct. I could be entirely wrong. And what you'll see is, what they do is they leave them here, and they'll leave them burning in memory to those that have obviously unfortunately passed away. So you can kind of see all along the candles, and obviously being 95% Catholic, there's a lot of religiosity. People are very religious here. Churches on Saturdays are still quite busy. A lot of people still have Catholic weddings, so still go to mass. You know, the church makes up a big part of Central European lifestyle. I know it's very common in Slovakia. I'm not too sure about others. I think the Czech Republic and Poland might be a bit less, but in Slovakia itself, it's especially still a very religious country. And you can see there Jesus, and I'm not going to embarrass myself by pretending to know who those are. Obviously being from the UK, I'm not heavily religious. And then you can see a little statue of Jesus there. And the would have been where the spear of destiny pierced him, the stigmata on his hands and feet there as well. Like I said, very religious. So it actually appears that I have caves here. I never knew this. I've been here loads of times with my wife, so she's from here. I've never actually seen this, but you can see there the caves. That's the entrance down there. It's Darbo. I think that's like a warning or something. But you can see they've got it in Slovak and English. The well shaft entrance, straight down there. I think this is a map of the cave system. God almighty. I have a feeling if we went down there, it would just turn into something like out of the Descent film, with all the mad creatures. Especially given the sort of religious park. Tunnel was filled up probably in 1725 during the construction of the third Baroque chapel, the Annunciation of the Virgin Mary. I think that's the chapel that's down there. And an industrial exploitation of the Marianka shell was taking place in the 19th century until the First World War, and is now completely extinct. I thought it was a lot later than that. Obviously not. But you can see around here the hills and things. But yeah, interesting. I thought it was used by the communists, but obviously not. Huh, there's something new every day. Let's go, there's CCTV on the entrance, but let's go have a look. We don't mind doing it a bit naughty. What does this say? God, my Slovak's awful. I can just about order coffee and that's about it. It's terrible, isn't it? I've been with my wife for 6 years, I still can't speak the bloody language. You can look at the church. You can see the church down there, and then behind it is the monastery. I think that's where the nuns would have lived. This is the good bit about marrying locals, is that you get to find out all the interesting things that people don't show you. If you Google half the YouTube videos I lived in Slovakia, literally just show you either like one of three places, which is like Bratislava, Košice, or Bansko Bystrica. Bansko Bystrica? Something like that. Whoever would have seen this? God, aren't you glad you found my YouTube channel? See, this is why Bald and Bankrupt doesn't come here, because there's not enough Soviet things. Like these fence posts are definitely not Soviet. I don't think those are Soviet toilets. Definitely not a Soviet restaurant. Now you're stuck here with me instead. Great, isn't it? You can see here, so some more information on the church. All of these are in, oh, they're not in Slovak. This was in Polish and English. Yeah, Marianka is the oldest pilgrimage venue in Slovakia and in the entire territory of the former Hungarian kingdom. Information on the oldest time of the place is slight and found only in legends. That's cool. In the 11th century, the surrounding forests were known for the lively hermit bustle. And that's it, the legend has it that one of the hermits carved a statuette of the Virgin Mary from a pear tree wood and worshipped it. Later, after hard times had struck, he felt threatened and fled, having hidden the statue in an unknown place. And that's when our thief found it. That's what I was telling you guys earlier. This one here says it was a blind beggar though. I got told it was a thief. Must have been the Daily Mail reporting. Or the BBC. You can see there. Should we go see if we can get in the church? I think we can. We'll go walk through there. You can see here the different dates of the Mass. It's worth remembering that in Slovakia, like most of parts of Central Europe, they celebrate Christmas on the 24th. And the Christmas meal is not, unfortunately, roast chicken or beef, or even duck, which is very popular here. It's actually fish and chips. Or I tell a lie, it's actually fish and potato salad. It's not bad, but usually it's like lake carp. There's actually if you speak to some of the more rural Slovaks, they actually keep the rainbow carp or lake trout, which it is here, obviously it's a landlocked country, they keep it in a bath and then they kill it the day they eat it. So a friend of mine was telling me that when he was a kid, he used to go into the bathroom and feed the fish and then they'd be eating it the next day. Mad, isn't it? You can see here. I want to get in the church and I can't find a way in. Maybe I'm just blind, but that way just looks like a road. There's like a secret cellar there. I wonder what's in that. It's like a hidden bunker for the priests or something to hide from or something. There's a wine cellar, that'd be nice. Marianka wine. I think in wine in Slovakia, if anybody wants to come here because you like a good drink, it's about €4 a bottle if you get the local stuff, and it isn't bad. It's actually quite nice. Should we sit down on this nice wet bench and I'll try and give you a bit more context. But I'm wearing white. I think we'll just walk around. That's pretty minging. But yeah, so Marianka, like I said, it is the biggest pilgrimage site in Slovakia by number. I think in its prime, or at least when the Pope visited here in the 70s, there was around 500,000 pilgrims that came here. and it was blessed by the Pope. It was sanctified, I think that's the word, by the Pope. And ever since then, a lot of people still do come here. Like I said, 95% of the country is practicing Catholic, Roman Catholic. So it's still a big part of a lot of people's lives in Slovakia. And obviously the more rural you get, the more you go to church. You do get a lot more liberal families now. But there is still a lot of emphasis placed on God and the church and lighting candles for the memories of the loved and the lost, you know. And obviously you still get a lot of care taken put into the church. You can still see all the windows and everything, you know. A lot of people here, because they're 95% Catholic, it isn't just like an interesting historical building, it's actively part of their life and their faith. So they still like to come here and pray, and they still go to, a lot of people still go to church on Christmas Day for Mass. Probably well embarrassing myself for my lack of religious knowledge, but it's always more interesting than just watching another video on top 10 things to do in Bratislava, isn't it? At least in my mind. You know, a lot of history in these little villages around Slovakia and Romania and Hungary and Czech Republic, but you don't see them. And that's what's always so cool about having a bit more of an insider knowledge. You get to see it out in the monastery. It said no unauthorized visitors, so we'll be nice because we are tourists. Some tourist. Nah, Marianka. So we'll be nice, we'll be good. You can kind of see it there though. You can see all the windows and the dorms and everything. And I think back in the day, that's when, you can see there back in the day, that obviously all of that would have just been covered. Covered? What the hell am I saying? All of that would have just been for nuns and for the, you know, part of the nunnery. You know, and you'd have had visitors stay there and pilgrims and a couple of others. And you can see now they've got a park. It's like a kids park, and I think up there is like the town hall / kids school. And you can see down there, people are just building the houses along there. And all of this, you can kind of see there's one up there through the trees, you might be able to see it. All of this currently is just woodlands, and like I said, woodlands. And like I said, a lot of this is actually the start of the Carpathian Mountains. So the Carpathian mountain range kind of starts along here. And then as you walk deeper into the forest, you can actually walk all the way to Romania from here and through the Carpathian Mountains down towards Romania or Hungary. So yeah, there's lots of history around here, and it is just a cool little town. Well, I've completely failed to tell you about the history, failed to find the statue of the Virgin Mary, and I've probably failed miserably to show you how actually quite beautiful this place is. But for a first video, I think we've done okay. Can't expect perfection. Can't expect perfection every day of the week now, can you? But I mean, look at it. Look how cute it is. You know, on a summer's day, you'd have people sat there drinking. I've been here in summer, and you'd have people sat there drinking. You'd have the kids playing in the football field, or at least the football. I call it a football prison. I don't know what it is. There is probably one last thing to check out though. There's like a nativity little scene over there. Let's go check that out. This is cool. You get a lot of stuff in the UK now that's like, you know, we'll do a nativity play with like fish and lobsters and all that sort of stuff. But here it's still very much, you know, actual handwood carvings. There's the baby Jesus. You know. And then you'd have the three wise men. I have no idea which one's Mary. I actually have no idea which one's Mary. I think this one's supposed to be it, or is that Joseph or something? I don't know. You've got two sheep though. Can't remember there being sheep in my nativity play in school, but there might have been. I didn't play one. I hope you've enjoyed this little tour of Marianka. I hope you've enjoyed the awful history lesson I've tried to give you, alongside the, you know, the scenery. There's how I chuck some of that in there. You can kind of see it there. So yeah, hopefully you found it somewhat interesting. Not just another video on Bratislava, but on some of the cool history of some of the villages around here. You know, it is a shame that more people don't make videos on this sort of stuff. You know, everyone just kind of does the touristy thing. Now, and arguably this is probably one of the touristy things. But it's cool. It's cool to learn about the history. It's cool to learn about the different, you know, lifestyles of people and how they live. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making it for a first video. It's been quite cool. And yeah, suppose I guess walk back now, hadn't I? That would be go and warm my hands up, because without a proper camera setup, my hands are freezing. Being cool. Have one last shot of Marianka. There you go. It's like you've been part of Slovak village life. How cool is that?